Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to episode of Chemical Guys Detail Garage. Today we have this new used vehicle that our coworker just went ahead and bought. What ended up happening is he actually showed up to a dealership while it was raining. The paint looked magnificent condition. It had clarity, but now that it's here dried up here in California, what ended up happening, we started seeing that the paint actually has marring, scratches, swirls, and everything from the above. So in this video, we're gonna go step by step on how to properly remove scratches and swirls so you can bring back your paint how it once looked, coming off freshly from the factory. Anyways guys, let's get right into it. Before we get into the polishing part and the clay bar part, we need to start off by cleaning up the surface of the vehicle. So if you guys actually come close, you guys can see that this paint has seen better days. Obviously, there are going to be some scratches and swirls that unfortunately are too deep and unfortunately can't come out, such as like this one right here. But we're gonna do our best to remove every single scratches and swirls so this paint can actually have optical clarity using obviously our products. But before we get into that, we're gonna start out by cleaning up the surface today using our waterless wash, which is going to be Swift Wipe waterless wash. Swift Wipe waterless wash is a easy on the go washing method. You could use this at a car show, you could use this in your driveway for anyone that does not have access to water. Right now our base is busy with Joey, taking pictures and etc. But anyways guys, that's not gonna stop us from detailing this ride. So we're gonna get our Swift Wipe waterless wash. We're gonna make sure it's actually on spray mode. If you guys did not know, our sprayer tops actually have an on and off technique. So just simply turn the bottle onto the spray. Once already on spray, what you want to do is just shake up the product. And before I tape up the middle of this surface, I just want to clean up the whole entire hood just so we can actually see what kind of condition this paint actually is. So just shake up the product. We'll spray it directly onto the hood. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And just keep going. And what I like to do is I like to be very generous with it because this car has not gotten any type of washing technique. It has not had any type of soap from us. This car obviously has had some type of detail from the dealer, but it has been raining here in California very often, so it hasn't had any type of cleaning method whatsoever. So I want to let it sit on there, let it soak in all the loose grime debris. So whenever I get my microfiber towel and start wiping it off, it's actually going to remove all the dirt and grime without scratching the surface of the vehicle. So now our premium microfiber towels always come with a tag. What you want to do is just simply rip it off. If it's hard for you, just simply stick your finger in the middle, pull away, get this tag, put it away. You won't need that tag. Now, our microfiber towels actually have dual pile sides to it. It has a short pile and it has a long pile. Now, how do you actually use it? What I like to use is I like to use the long pile to remove any liquids away from the surface of the vehicle. Like this, I have a much more softer touch. While the short pile, I like to use it for like any waxes, glazing, sealants, or even ceramics, just to remove it away from the surface. As you guys can see, I sprayed Swift Wipe onto the surface and it's not dripping off. That is because it is getting all the dirt, grime, debris. It's going to emulsify it, and whenever I come with my microfiber towel, it's simply not going to scratch the surface of the vehicle. I'll fold it once more, and then I will go to the surface, and I will start wiping in one linear motion. Inspect, and as you guys can see, all of that dirt, grime, debris is sitting on the microfiber towel. Now, what a lot of people do whenever they're using a waterless wash, they go back and they start using it. What I like to do, I like to be very generous. Simply get another clean side of a microfiber side, and then just come back, wipe in linear motions, and go on. You guys can see, flip it over to another clean side. And the reason why I like to flip over my microfiber towel very often is because paint nowadays, they're very soft, very delicate, and over time you're just gonna be scratching it much more. Imagine getting all of this dirt and grime, rubbing it all over the paint. That's gonna cause more scratch and swirls, more headaches, and then overall you're gonna have to keep polishing your car very often, which I personally like to polish out a car maybe 1 to 3 times a year max, because you don't know how much clear coat you actually have on your car. You don't know what the condition it is. You don't know if your car is old, new, been repainted. So just by having that in your brain, it's very simple to detail a car, no matter what type of car it is, blue, black, white, yellow. Simply polish it using these proper steps, and like this you get optical clarity. Anyways guys, let me just finish wiping down that surface of the hood. Once I already wiped everything down, we're gonna inspect it very closely so we can see exactly what we're working with, and then I'll get back with you guys. Alright guys, so we just finished wiping down the whole entire hood using Swifite water wash, and now we actually can see the scratches and swirls. I mean, the scratches and swirls, they popped more. That is because the dealer went ahead and washed this car imperfectly. So what ends up happening is they get scratches and swirls, they minor detail it, then they sell it. But in this occasion, our camera guy, he's actually going to witness us transform his car. He's actually behind the camera right now. But what ends up happening is he showed up when it was raining. Rain was on it, liquid's on it, and whenever liquid's on it, your car is always going to look its best because you can't see any scratches and swirls. So he test drove it, he fell in love with it, and then he drove off the dealer. But now here in sunny California, now it's finally sunny, but now we can actually see the scratches and swirls. So you're going to be seeing the results. He's going to be seeing the results right now because he's actually recording this video. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be getting masking tape, and we're going to be putting a line down the middle just so we can make sure we have a 50-50. So I'll get my masking tape. And excuse me if it's not perfect. I mean, I'm not perfect, so bear with me. So I'll just run it down the middle, rip this off, put it right there. So now here's a perfect example of us showing you guys what your car looked before, what we're gonna transform it to. But before we get into a polishing method, we're gonna make sure if it has any contamination. So I'm gonna get my hand, rub it around, and you guys can hear that. All of that is just contamination that lands on your paint. It embeds itself into the pores of the paint, and over time, it's just going to be causing more scratches and swirls. So what we're going to start off by doing, we're going to start off by clay barring the surface just to remove all the contamination, make your paint feel smooth as glass. If you do have a touchscreen phone right now, I want you guys to touch your screen right now. If it's not cracked, that is how your paint is supposed to feel. You're not supposed to hear any type of graspiness whatsoever. It's supposed to be smooth as glass. So before we get into the polishing part, like I told you, we're going to start off by clay barring it, the surface. So I already have a small portion of my OG clay bar. Our OG clay bar is a light to medium duty clay bar, and I already went ahead and ripped off a portion of it. So knead it out into a patty. And then in my 32-ounce secondary sprayer bottle, I already have my clay lubricant. I'll go to a surface and I'll spray it onto the surface. And what clay lubricant is going to do, clay lubricant is going to help glide your clay bar across the surface without scratching nor marring. So I mean, check out how sticky this clay bar actually is. It's like gum. So if you drop it, what I recommend you do is pick it back up, throw it away, get a new piece, and go on from there. You never want to use a clay bar that has fallen on the floor, pick it back up, use it on paint. Do not do that. So I'll also spray some onto my clay bar, just so I got that extra lubrication. And then I'll go to the surface of this paint, and I'll just go side to side, up and down, and I'll start removing the contamination away from the paint. Now what a clay bar is going to do, like I told you guys, is going to remove the contamination. So whenever I come with my high-speed DA polisher, which is going to be the Torque 15 DA, I'm not going to be pushing any more contamination deeper into the paint, because what ends up happening, imagine you have sand, right? You have sand, which you're dealing with polishes, you're dealing with compounds, and what ends up happening is you're going to be pushing those contamination deeper into the paint, and what ends up happening is causing more scratches and swirls, more headaches for yourself. So prevent all that just by taking an extra step, by removing all the contaminants using the clay bar. And if your car is super duper contaminated and you haven't clay barred it in years, we do offer different types of grades of clay bars. Here at chemicalguys, we offer one from that super light, which is going to be the blue one, to all the way to the black one, which is going to be the heavy duty. Now, you always want to start off light, you never want to start off heavy. If you guys do have any questions about what clay bar you should be using, make sure to drop a comment down below, subscribe to our YouTube channels. You could also message us on our social media platforms such as Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Twitter. We have a full staff that is dedicated to responding back to you guys. So, after doing a couple passes, it's time to inspect the clay bar. Now, this car has heavy amounts of clay bar. All of that got embedded itself into the clay bar, it feels rough even when I rub my finger on it. Now, how do you actually remold your clay bar? It's fairly simple. Grab your clay bar, you flip it, you remold it, and then you stretch it out to a new piece. How do you know when you're done using your clay bar? Whenever you re-knead it and all you see is contaminants. So after you re-knead your clay bar and you no longer have an even space or a clean space, that's whenever you know it's time to throw it away. But if you do finish using your clay bar and you did not drop it into your detail, you could simply attach it to your sprayer top, or you could also put it back into the little container that it came into. In this occasion, I'm just gonna put on my sprayer top right here, and now I'll make sure I don't drop it. And now just get a clean microfiber towel, inspect it for any tags, remove the tag, put the tag off to the side, once again, fold it, and then I'll start wiping down the residue of the clay lubricant. Now what the clay luber is going to do is just simply, like I told you guys, going to glide your clay bar across the surface. Now we do offer different types of claying techniques, from clay blocks, clay bars. So like this, you have a super flat surface you're working on, you might want to take the clay block method. But in this occasion, I went with the traditional method, which is using a clay bar, just so I can make sure I remove all the contaminants. And now just by removing all the contaminants, it's very simple to wipe down and remove any liquids from the surface of your paint. It's going to basically exfoliate your paint, make it smooth as glass. I mean, there's no more graspiness coming from it compared to over here. It's smooth as glass. Now, this is the time where we move on to our next step, which is going to be the polishing step. So, before we get into the polishing step, let's just do a rewind. We started out by washing the car using Swirl waterless wash. Once we did that, we went ahead and clay barred the surface using the clay luber and the OG clay bar. Now it's time to move on to the polishing technique. So the polishing technique is going to consist of a DA polisher or a rotary polisher. In this occasion, we are using our Torque 15 DA. The Torque 15 DA is fully digital. And then whenever you're actually using the speed, you turn it back, you turn it off, you turn it back on, it completely resets. The reason why we designed it as like this is because, say for example, I'm polishing, Joey calls me over, I turn off my machine, it's going to reset. Other machines, you turn them off and you stay on that high speed. What ends up happening is, if you don't remember you're on high speed, you might damage the paint, you might harm it. So this is why we've always thought about all the safety features. And of course, it is a dual action polisher, so if you're pressing too hard on it, it's going to simply just oscillate one single motion. It's not going to burn paint. And then we're going to be pairing it up using our orange medium duty heavy cutting pad with a Hexlogic pad. So the Hexlogic pad has a hole in the middle. What ends up going to do, whenever you're applying so much pressure on the paint, it's going to disperse the heat evenly so that you don't have just certain heat sitting down the middle. And then it also has a flare side to it, so your bagging plate is never exposed directly onto your paint. You never want to have a high-speed bagging plate penetrating your paint, because if you do scuff it, it's going to burn it, you're going to damage it. So we can prevent all that by using the Torque 15 DA, the Hexlogic pad, and of course our hook and loop backing plate. So now that we went over the polisher, it's time to go over what polish am I going to be using. The polish I'm going to be using today is going to be V36 optical grade polish. This polish, I'm going to use that as a one single step, because this paint doesn't look bad whenever I brought it in, but if I do need to go heavier, I simply have a chemical guy store here or a detail guy store just right over. I could just walk over there, get a different product, and move on from there. Because remember, you never want to start off with high grit. You always want to start off with low grit and work your way up. Because what ends up happening, if you start off high, it might be too aggressive for your paint and you can't go back. So now that I have my V36 polish and my polisher set up, it is simply time to shake up my product, mix in all the micro abrasives, open up the spout, come to my polisher, and I'm going to add 5 dime size drops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, that was big, but oh well. Put my polish off to the side. Now I'll be getting my polishing pad conditioner. Now polishing pad conditioner is going to be a big step whenever you're detailing your car. The reason why I like to spray it directly onto my pad is because it's going to reduce friction, it's going to disperse heat. 2 sprays is all you need. Come back, put it back in your line. Now that we have our polishing pad conditioner on our pad, we have our V36 on our pad. Now it's time to get our cord over our shoulder. The reason why we want to put the cord over our shoulder, because if I don't, and I start blotching it out, this cord is going to be hitting the paint and it might scratch, it might harm the paint. So just put the cord over your shoulder. Now you have no type of cord whatsoever hitting the paint, and now it's time to polish. But before we get into the polishing part, to look more professional, to make polishing a lot easier, I want you guys to learn how to divide your paint, your panels, in sections. You want to always do like a 2x2 section. Never go so big, because what ends up happening is you might start thinking, did I get this side compared to this side? No, just divide it. So what I like to do is I like to divide it into 4 pieces. A, B, C, and D. Like this, every single time I'm polishing, I already know I did A. Obviously, I'll overlap it just so I can make sure I blend it and I don't have any high spots or any imperfections. So we're gonna start off with A, then we're gonna go to B, C, then we're gonna work on D. Like this, we get an even coverage, you look professional, you don't miss any micro scratches or swirls. Anyways, guys, let's get right into it. So whenever you're polishing, it's fairly simple. What I like to do is I like to blotch out the product. The reason why I like to blotch out the product is because if I just turn on the machine, it could simply splatter all over the place. And if you're at a detailing job and you're super dirty, your customers are gonna be, does he actually know what he's doing? Just look way more professional like this. Whenever you're detailing your car, detailing a customer's car, you always look professional, you stay clean, and you don't get dirty. So after you spread it out just by blotching out everywhere, you're gonna wanna click the plus sign, which is just going to be bumping up to speed setting 1. Now, if you do have a DA polisher, you can turn on the DA polisher on the paint. If you do have a rotary, turn on the polisher away from the paint, then go on to the paint. But in this occasion, the Torque 15 DA is a DA polisher, so I could turn on the paint. So press speed setting 1. And what speed setting 1 is going to do is just going to help me spread the product over. So like this, it's all over my pad evenly. It's even on the surface I'm gonna be polishing. And now what I'll do is simply put the polisher back on the surface, turn on the machine, and this is one of my favorite features. It resets. Put the polisher back on the surface, turn on the machine, now bump it up to speed setting 6. Just click this dial 6 times. I'll work in the product side to side, up and down, and then work it until it turns clear translucent. Once I'm done, I'll show you guys the results on how the adjacent parts of this hood looks compared to the freshly polished side. Anyways guys, I'll be right back. All right guys, so we just finished polishing out this section and now it's time to inspect. So I'll put my polisher off to the side. I'll get a clean microfiber towel. Remember, I told you guys to use a short pile to remove any glazes, sealants, compounds, polishes. It's going to be a lot much more easier. So I'll just get my short pile side and then I'll just buff off the excess product. And as you guys can see, I mean, there's optical clarity back to this paint. I mean, just by looking at this part of the vehicle compared to this part of the vehicle, there's no more scratches and swirls on this side. Obviously, we're not gonna get this paint back to 100% because this paint has been through wear and tear. It was a rental at one point. The owner bought it, so I'll take these results at any given day. Obviously, we're not done here. After you polish it, you want to apply some type of protection. The protection we'll be applying is going to be HydroCharge Plus. It's going to level out the paint so you can fill in any micro scratches or swirls that I probably missed. So anyways, guys, once I'm done polishing, the next stop on this detail is going to be protection. But before we get into the protection, let me just finish polishing out this whole entire hood. Then we'll get into the protection part, which is going to be applying HydroCharge Plus. I'll meet you guys in a sec. All right guys, so we just finished polishing this half of this hood and I mean the results are amazing. Reflections there, none of that, nonetheless, it's actually bare paint, so now it's our next step on this detail, which is going to be protecting it. You always want to protect after you polish your car. The reason why is because if you have no type of protection, you're just throwing away all your polishing hard work to the trash, because as soon as you drive away, obviously there's going to be elements, it might be liquids, it might be contamination. It's going to land again onto your paint, it's going to bed itself, and whenever next time you wash your car, it's going to simply just cause water spots or more scratches and swirls. So now our next step on this detail, before we get into protection, is going to be using wipeout. Wipeout is going to be a surface cleanser that's going to help me remove any oils that was released from any compounds or any type of liquid, so I actually have a true paint. So like this, whenever I come back to apply some type of protection, is actually going to bond on properly. So I'll get my Wipeout, I'll spray it directly onto my paint, just so I can ensure I have no type of waxes, no type of sealants whatsoever sitting on my paint. So I sprayed some onto my microfiber towel. It's just because I want to add an extra soft touch, because I just freshly polished this paint and I don't want to install any more scratches and swirls. Now, as you guys can see, I am wiping the paint in linear motions. Now, by wiping the paint in linear motions, I am reducing the chances of scratching the paint again. Whenever you are wiping your paint in any type of form, whether you're cleaning your wheels, your glass, headlights, you always want to wipe in linear motions to prevent scratches and swirls, because if you do have dirt, grime, contamination, or a dirty towel, and you go in circular motions, you're going to cause more scratches and swirls, and then you're going to have to repolish the surface. So always go side to side or up and down to remove any glazes, sealants, wax, or wipe down your surface of your car. Now our next stop on this detail is going to be applying HydroCharge Plus. Now HydroCharge Plus is fairly simple to use. It's from our Hydro line. It's friendly, it's ceramic for everything around your entire car. Now HydroCharge Plus is going to be your paint, glass, headlights, wheels, and much more. If you want something that's going to be specific for one area, such as your wheels, we do offer like Hydro Spin. If you want something specifically for vinyl, rubber, plastic, we have Hydro Shield. Just click the link down below. We'll link all of our Hydro line products. But anyways, how do you actually apply a ceramic? When ceramic comes into your mind, you start thinking professionals, I need heaters. No. We made applying ceramics so easy that anybody could use it. Simply get your HydroCharge product, shake it, spray it onto a microfiber applicator. The reason why I want to spray directly onto a microfiber applicator is because it's going to harden. You don't want to spray directly onto your paint. I mean, you could, but you want to reduce overspray. Now you'll go to the surface you're applying it on, and you will go in linear motions. Now what HydroCharge Plus is going to do is going to protect your paint for up to 1 year, which is 12 months protection with proper maintenance and care. It's also going to level out your paint so you could actually have a rich crystalline finish and shine. So anytime you come in contact with liquids, the ceramic is going to push all the liquids off. You will prevent water spots. You will prevent any sun damage, clear coat failure. So always be sure to apply protection after you finish polishing. So like this, your car is protected whenever it's sitting outside. Say for example, here in California, we drive here, we don't have a parking structure, our car sits outside, so that harmful UV rays may damage it. But by applying HydroCharge Plus, you're going to reduce sun damage, which is going to be clear coat. Clear coat damage is not going to get damaged. It's going to protect it for up to 12 months. And it also darkens the paint and self-levels the paint. So like this, you actually have a true clarity and true finish. Now, HydroCharge Plus, it's fairly simple to use. As soon as you apply it, you can let it sit for 30 seconds to 2 minutes. In this occasion, we are in a controlled environment. We do have AC going on right now. So it's fairly cool, so I'm just gonna let it sit. Meanwhile, I'll inspect my towel for any tags. Make sure I have no tags. I have no tags. Flip it over, refold it, and now it's time to remove it away from the surface. So by removing it away from the surface, I mean I have no elbow grease. This simply comes right off. It's going to darken the paint. Now, a quick pro tip for you guys. If you guys are working in a garage, what I recommend you guys do is let your car sit inside the garage without it going outside or getting any type of liquids, elements on it, because we want the ceramic to actually bond properly. After 3 hours, if you can, just pull it back out, you drive it around, you're good to go. But the cool thing about HydroCharge Plus is over 24 hours, the hydrophobic properties are going to enhance even more. The clarity is going to get even better. So it's just a step in this process. But if you guys do want to ask me this question, which is, can I apply my favorite glaze, sealant, wax on top of HydroCharge? The answer is yes. HydroCharge Plus can be topped off with your favorite glazes, your favorite sealants, your favorite waxes. And if you just want to maintain it, you can simply use a quick detail spray like Hydro Speed, which is going to be in the link down below. Simply spray it down, wipe it off. Or if you just want to do a full wash, you could also use Hydro Suds. Hydro Suds is a ceramic infused wash. But anyways, guys, now that I've finished wiping everything away from the surface, it's time to unveil the before and after. So I'll get my tape. I'll remove it. And check that out, guys. I mean, I would take these results any given day. This side, it looks cloudy. It looks super scratched up. Compared to this side, there's finally clarity. I mean, this paint is not going to come back to 100% how it came out of the factory, but I will take these results any given day just because this car was a rental and now the owner bought it. I hope the camera guy behind this camera is amazed with these results, but you guys could also achieve these results right now by heading over to our website, chemicalguys.com, and picking up everything that I use on this video. If you guys want to check out the links down below, chemicalguys.com has everything from glazes, sealants, waxes, accessories, bags, creeper dollies, soft stools, and the list goes on. Or if you also want to drive down to your local detail garage, I recommend you do so. It's a car enthusiast's paradise. Basically, everything that's on chemicalguys.com is going to be at your local detail garage. As always, I'm Henry. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you guys next time right here at the Chemicalguys Detail Garage. Buckets. I missed.